There's a pack for our top 50 on-air talents. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, let's try this again. I didn't realize my mic was muted. Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. My name is Erica Wade, and I am the manager for the Office of Small Business Opportunity. We're so happy to have each and every one of you join us today for our much needed conversation called Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. We realize
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon.
All right, good. We can all hear. Good, good. All righty.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, it is now 3 o'clock, and I believe we can go ahead and start the meeting. Looks like we do have a quorum.
Okay, great, fantastic. Well, great to see all of you. And please allow me to read this into the record. In accordance with the Freedom of Information Act, a copy of the agenda was posted on bulletin boards and was also sent to radio, TV stations, newspapers, and persons requesting notifications and posted in the county administration building. So we appreciate all of you joining us here today on our Zoom Planning Commission meeting on this September 10th day at 3 p.m. Great to see all of our commissioners and that everyone's doing well and that you were able to join us here today on our Zoom call. So at this point, I will accept a motion on our consent agenda. Ms. Carnes, I think you're on mute, I believe.
There we go. All better now. It was much better, I know, before. So asking of staff if we've had anyone sign up for case 3 on Old Percival or case 5 or 6 on Raven Road.
Yeah, Madam Vice Chair, we have comments for all of the cases, but all of the letters are from the applicants.
So in other words, we have no people speaking in opposition on cases number 2, 5, and 6?
No,
Do any of the
Okay.
commission members?
that would be cases 1, 3,
Oh,
5, 6, and 7. You should have gotten an updated agenda in which case number 2, which was 20-0220 MA, was deferred.
oh, sorry. I have the printed one in front of me.
So,
So, all right, so just for clarity is that that map amendments that we could keep on the consent agenda unless anyone opposes would be item 3, which is Old Percival Road. Item 5, which is Raybon, and item 6, which is Raybon. Is that correct, Mr. Price?
yes.
Okay, so do any of the commission members have any need to talk about those matters? Okay, hearing nothing. So basically, I would like to amend the consent agenda to remove items 1, which is Guy's Road. Item 7, which is Rice Meadow Way for discussion. And otherwise to approve the consent agenda as presented. That was in the form of a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Carnes. You did a great job with that. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we remove the cases that Commissioner Kearns recommended regarding our map amendments. All in favor?
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Chair, I think what we decided to do with these virtual meetings is to do a roll call.
Oh, okay, I was going to say all in favor signify by roll calling your vote.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You're good. So Stephen Gilchrist,
Okay, Gilchrist,
yes.
Carnes,
Yes.
Yonke,
Yes.
yes, Carlisle. Carlisle.
You
Okay,
need to unmute, Mr. Carlisle.
Unmute your phone. Thanks.
Okay, yes.
Brady.
That worked.
Aye.
That it?
So that passes, yes.
Okay, great. All right, and just for the record, the consent agenda also included our road names as well. First item on the agenda, map amendments. Price.
Yes, sir. The first item is case 20-019 MA. The applicant is WP Sly or Will Sly. The location is right off of Dutch Fork, is at the corner of Dutch Fork and Guys Road. The applicant is requesting to rezone a 2.51 acre tract, a portion of, from rural to neighborhood commercial. Staff recommends disapproval of this request. And again, it's more of a principal disapproval of the request, because we feel it would not be consistent with the objectives outlined in the comprehensive plan. However, the proposed zoning would be consistent with the adjacent parcels recently approved zoning district requests of neighborhood commercial, which are north of the site, as you will see on the zoning map that's before you.
So what?
Okay, any questions? Is that your report, Mr. Price?
Yes, sir.
Any questions for the staff, Ms. Kern?
What, Mr. Price, can you offer what the depth of the rezoned lot is, as well as the depth of this lot? I mean, or the width, depth, however you want to view it, perpendicular to Dutch Fork.
If you just give me a moment, let me get that. Okay, going from Dutch Fork Road, The parcel that is actually zoned neighborhood commercial is approximately 76 feet in depth coming from Dutch Fork Road. And the parcel that is subject to the request today is 164 feet in depth coming from Dutch Fork Road. So together, we're looking at approximately 260 feet.
I mean, I just asked because, I have some concern that this is sort of commercial creep up a side street.
Right.
And so that's why I'm just trying to figure out, is the existing parcel large enough to reasonably accept neighborhood commercial uses?
Yeah.
I mean, and just sort of eyeballing it, looking at houses on, or not houses, but the properties on Dutch Fork, that it appears to be deep enough by itself, but maybe the applicant would disagree with me.
I think one of the things to point out is that the parcel that's already zoned neighborhood commercial and the subject parcel are both owned by the same applicant.
Yes.
Mr. Sly. And also one of the things that there was during the discussions with staff, there was that same concern expressed by staff. So the applicant actually subdivided a portion of the parcel to essentially create a flag lot, which actually serves as a buffer between what would potentially be the neighborhood commercial and the residential, which is south of the request.
Is that good, Ms. Carnes?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I got you.
Price of applicant available?
No, sir, but I could actually try to make contact with him if that's desired.
Well, did he submit, yeah, I think you offered a little bit ago, did he submit written comments?
Yes.
Oh, he did, okay.
Yeah, and I can read those into the record now.
Please, okay, thank you.
To the members of Planning Commission, thank you for considering our request, our project. It is our intention to place 12,500 square foot buildings, which will be used for storage facility. We have worked with Geo Price in the past few months in an attempt to make the development work with community's best interest in mind. We will keep the large hardwoods on site to maintain the rural setting. We propose to leave a 50-foot buffer between our site and the adjacent property. This buffer is and shall remain heavily wooded. The landscape plan will show a minimum of 30 live oaks along Dutch Fork Road and Guides Road. We have eliminated all ingress and egress with exception of one entrance on Dutch Fork Road. Guides Road will not be affected. In an effort to reduce traffic impact, we will handle all vehicles on site. Thank you again for considering our project, which we hope will make a positive effect on the community. Sincerely, W.P. Sly.
Okay, is that the only comment that we have, Mr. Price, on this case?
That's the only comment.
Okay. Are there any additional comments from the Planning Commission? One, Mr. Price, I think I noted twice in your report that the staff mentioned principally the staff is of the opinion that the proposed zone would not be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Can you expound on that a little bit more for me on exactly why the staff felt that way?
Previously, if you look at the two parcels that are north of the subject site, to today's subject site, that were rezoned to neighborhood commercial, previously to those rezonings, the comprehensive plan did not support those requests. However, once those were approved by council, we didn't go back and amend the comprehensive plan to take into consideration that this area has now changed. So basically our comments are based on what the comprehensive plan stated previously and which is the same now.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you so much. Are there any additional comments from commissioners? Any motions on this case? Any motions? I hope that means everybody's on mute. Unmute your phones.
I think I'm unmuted.
I guess I have a question.
Bianchi.
I just want to confirm that they own both properties, the one that's right on Dutch Fork, as well as the one that we're looking at, that we're talking about right now. So with Ms. Karn, I understand neighborhood encroachment, but really it looks like they're just trying to use both parcels for this change. Am I understanding this correctly?
That is correct.
I would lean towards a motion of approval of this based off of Dutch Fork Road property that's there already, and then this one abutting it. Looks like they're going to be using the similar use, one business. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I'm understanding about this property.
No, based on the letter from the applicant, you're correct.
So, Mr. Yunke, based upon your analysis of voting against the staff recommendation, we will include your comments as part of the recommendation and your motion. Is that correct? Mr. Yunke?
Correct.
Okay, great. Is there a second on this to move case 20-019 MA forward to council's recommendation of approval based upon Mr. Yunke's recommendations?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we send case number 20-019 MA forward to council's recommendation of approval. All in favor signify by roll call vote. I'm sorry. What was that?
Yes, just by roll call, I was laughing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Gilchrist,
All right. Aye.
Carnes,
Yes,
Yonke,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Take you off mute.
okay, who raised his hand? Grady
Aye.
and Branham.
Hey, I joined the call late after the case had been called due to technical difficulties, so I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Okay, Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, so that passes 6-0.
Okay, great. And we are a recommending body to county council, and they will meet back. I'm assuming that on a Zoom call on September the 22nd. Is that right, Mr. Price?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Next case.
Okay, our next case is case 20-25 MA. The applicant is Anil Parag. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. The applicant is requesting to rezone properties about a little more than 1 acre, and it's located at 301 Rice Meadow Way from PDD to an amended PDD. And the purpose of that is to increase the number of permitted uses allowed within that PDD, and it is in your staff report on page 43, 42 and 43. 42 starts off by identifying the permitted uses for that PDD, Plan Development District. And on page 43, you will see the proposed uses for commercial office space. Again, this is what staff principally recommends disapproval of this map amendment, as we don't feel it would be consistent with the objectives outlined in the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan recommends non-residential development along main road corridors and within a contextually appropriate distance from a primary arterial. The subject site is not located along a main road corridor or within a distance of a primary arterial. For these reasons, staff principally recommends disapproval. However, the requested amendment to the current PDD would allow for service-oriented commercial uses for the surrounding residential areas, and it would be compatible with the allowable uses within the PDD and existing surrounding development. One of the things that we discussed is that even with the improvements that are taking place on Hardscrabble Road, that would not change the classification of the road. Thus, that's why staff's principally is still recommending disapproval of this request.
Questions for the staff? Commissioner?
I got a question.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, Ms. Brown.
Is this like an all or nothing up or down vote? Like there's 8 additional proposed uses. Do all 8 have to go as a package deal, or what's the story there?
One of the things with a PDD, you can make a recommendation. I believe you can make a recommendation with conditions for a PDD versus other zoning designations. So you could make a recommendation of approval with certain uses not being included, or maybe even with the addition of other uses.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brown. Any additional commissioners? Comment?
I did have one question, if I might.
Yes, sir. Brady.
I was just curious, how did the current list of PDD businesses, how was that established? There's similar tracts elsewhere in the county that have similar sets of restrictions. If you could provide a little more context for how we got here, that would be helpful.
Okay. When PDDs are brought before the county, in this case, the Planning Commission and County Council, not only are you rezoning the land, but you're creating what we require them to provide, which is a general development plan, which pretty much outlines all the uses within that development. Basically, you're creating your own zoning district within a PDD. And so when when this parcel was previously rezoned to PDD, along with if you take a look, those parcels to the west and also south of this site, they were all part of some iterations of a PDD over the years. And so when those came in, they identified specific uses during that time. So that's how those came to be about.
So like the commercial PDD to the south, I guess it is, the large one. I mean, I sort of have 2 questions. One is, does that one have uses, like are the uses on that parcel the same as 1 through 23?
No, I believe that's different
Okay.
for those commercial uses. As I said, they all kind of came in as kind of piecemeal PDDs. I believe
Gotcha.
there may be about 2 or 3 in this general area that are all PDD, but they came in different times with different requirements.
So my other question would be regarding the proposed uses, 24 through 31. I don't know what a hookah lounge is, but I think that's interesting. That's a use. Sounds like a business thing, but I mean, as a staff, as a planning commission or planning director, I mean, it seems to me that many of these uses are consistent, but maybe 26, 27, and 31 are inconsistent with what was already approved. I mean, like, are uses 26, 27, and 31 considered more noxious in the world of planning?
Give me, you said 26.
I don't know what a hookah lounge is, so I'm just including that because I mean, I'm assuming that it's some kind of nightclub just because of the use of the word lounge.
Just by definition, and I wanted to pull this up, make sure I read that correctly. It's an establishment where patrons share, I believe it's shisha. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So flavored tobacco.
Yeah.
Within a communal hookah. I actually will kind of defer to either Mr. DeLage or Mr. Crooks if they want to expound upon that. You know, go with the younger crowd. Maybe they can tell me what it is.
So I mean, okay.
Cigar bar, I believe.
Well, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, so typically the, at least from talking with applicants and seeing some of these establishments in operation, typically they would offer, you would pay for basically the tobacco, the use of a disposable mouthpiece, and then you would basically sit around with some friends. Some establishments offer refreshments or alcohol. My understanding is in Bristol County, there's some issues with, smoking and food consumption at the same time, but that's kind of outside the land development code. But typically they function as you would come in, you would rent the hookah, purchase the tobacco, get the mouthpieces, as part of that, sit around, smoke that in a communal setting, and then just kind of hang out. And we've seen a couple of these uses come throughout the county. They're fairly new. The city has some, and of course, in 5 Points and in some of the more urban areas.
So I mean, is it correct that hookah lounges, cigar sales, and liquor stores are of this list potentially the uses that are inconsistent with the already? It just seems to me that like insurance agency is completely consistent with what is already allowed. Real estate agency, same thing. The CDV or CDB, whatever, the natural oils, I'm sure that's what basically that is. And I'm just trying
Ms. Hines, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to get a feel for how, so the staff said disapproval. It looks to me like half the list is pretty logistically consistent and maybe about half the list is not. So I mean, is that part of the reason for the disapproval?
Ms. Carnes, Brian Crooks.
Yes,
if I may. So this is one of the things that we as staff, we have had some discussion around when we were looking at those proposed uses for the commercial office space. So those kind of three that you pointed out would be the most inconsistent with the rest of the uses that are currently allowed and those additional more office type uses, and just in kind of really how we're kind of looking at them in the under the LDC generally. So those three that you pointed out would be the most inconsistent with those that are currently allowed and also those that are proposing. And so that plays into it in part, yes, but also it's one of those that when looking at, in terms of how we would be looking at this in relation to like a rezoning to an NC or a GC or whatnot, those bevy of allowed uses that would be within it. And so I think this is just one of those where, as Mr. Price stated previously to Mr. Branham's question, that there is the ability to select certain uses that if the commission found them to be disagreeable, they could do so. And so just in terms of kind of that recommendation, generally they're all fairly compatible, but those three would be the most inconsistent with the other uses that are found there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Crooks. Any additional comments for the staff?
One more, sorry.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Wondered if we needed to be factoring in the proximity to the elementary school for any reason under the county ordinances.
Richland County's ordinances don't have a required separation from schools for these type of uses.
Okay.
That would be addressed. Now, again, when we talk about liquor stores or places that sell alcohol, that would be addressed on a state level, but not on the county level.
So is there an applicable state minimum distance of which you are aware?
They would, I know for the liquor store, that they would have to meet the state, I think it's 500 feet, but that is going to be on your normal vehicular or pedestrian pathway, not as the crow flies as we tend to state. So it would be how you come out along, how, once you leave the site, you're on Hardscrabble Road, and then you would get to the main entrance and to the main building on the elementary site. That's what would determine normally from the state on whether it meets their requirements.
So on that analysis, does that mean that it's more than the minimum required distance?
Looking at it, it seems to be yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Any additional questions for the staff? Mr. Price, do you have a write-up from the applicant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you wish to put it on the record?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
All right, so to whom it may concern, at times like the present, everyone is seeking happiness, peace, laughter, and people, places, and things that can produce these pleasures, thereby distracting them from the surrounding chaos. As a team, our only intent is to communicate to you that we are dedicated to creating an atmosphere that is conducive to providing a peaceful, relaxing experience for all of our customers. We are all outstanding citizens who each hold positions of significance with reputable businesses, companies, and organizations. We are also all parents and some even grandparents, which alone gives us even more of a reason to ensure that anything we're involved in is of a respectable nature. Not one of us would be willing to risk our careers or be a part of any project that will bring shame or discord to the community. All of this being said, we would ask that you please consider granting us the opportunity to prove to everyone that we have what it takes to make this work, and that we will each hold each other accountable for making sure this business begins and remains professional and significant. Sincerely, Robert L. Morris, owner, Deshaun T. Brown, owner, Chandler S. Sharmar, owner, Marlena H. Williams, office manager. That's the Hookahs team.
Okay, any additional statements from the public on this case?
No, sir.
All right. I'll entertain a motion or any additional comments. One question I have, Mr. Price, I think you referenced early on in your report the improvements on Hardscrabble Road. You guys included that as part of your report. Did you take that in consideration, the fact that it should be completed by the time this, I'm noticing here, it may be complete. Is it completed now?
Mr. Crooks, if you would chime in on that.
I don't believe it is completed, Mr. Gilchrist. That is the information from SCDOT's website, that they had an anticipated contract completion date of, I believe it was either October of this year. So that's why it is listed as anticipated completion of fall of 2020. So that is what they had listed on their website. The various traffic characteristics that we did provide in the report were based on the 5-lane expansion. So looking at the things like level of service and such was based on that final expansion.
Got it.
And one thing that I think Mr. Price did note earlier that with the expansion to 5 lanes, it would still be a minor arterial and would not be becoming a primary arterial.
Okay, thank you for that. Any additional questions for the staff, commissioners? Chair will entertain a motion. There is one. Unmute your phones.
Well, all right, so, I mean, I'll make a motion that we send map amendment 20025 MA forward to council with a recommendation of approval. I believe that the added uses are sufficiently consistent with what the approved uses are. I also believe that I would have a hard time believing that any of these uses would cause the public to think that there had been a significant change in use in the neighborhood or in that commercial development. So I find that the uses are consistent enough with what's there now and what's allowed now to amend the PDD to allow them.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we send case number 20-025 MA forward to council's recommendation of approval based upon Ms. Kern's recommendations. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the roll call vote.
Okay, Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Yes.
Yonke,
Aye.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
No.
Branham.
Aye.
Okay. That motion is approved.
Okay, great. And we are a recommending body to county council. They will meet back in these chambers. Well, not in these chambers, but on Zoom on September the 22nd. So for those that are attending via Zoom, feel free to join the council at that time. Other business, item number 4. Price.
Okay, the other business, I'll turn this over to Mr. DeLage and Mr. Crooks so they can talk about the land development code rewrite.
All right, so I guess I'll lead off and Mr. Crooks can fill in, but I hope everyone's doing well and I've got hopefully some good news. We have received the testing results and we're kind of doing a review right now just to make sure there's not any kind of errors, typos, or anything else like that. But the intent is once we finish that review, to get that sent out to you, county council, other stakeholder groups as well as an update. And then near the end of September, we would really like to either schedule a separate meeting to discuss that, or the other option is that we had discussed is kind of doing it on the back end of October's Planning Commission meeting, just to kind of go over, allow y'all to ask questions. I mean, I think the test results are pretty straightforward, but of course, once you get in there, I know we had some dialogue back and forth about the results. It wasn't anything too surprising, other than just kind of what they came up with doing their conceptual plans, basically based off of the new kind of form-based zoning district standards. So I did want to update you with that. We've also been meeting with other stakeholder groups and anticipate having additional stakeholder meetings, not only with the Planning Commission and then the Code Rewrite Guidance Committee, as well as our environmental group and our service providers, and then also our development group, but we're going to try to expand that out. We also want to reach out to our stakeholders too, that since it's been a little while, I know we had not as good as attendance as we would like, and I think that is also because we did receive some kickbacks from certain entities as people have changed positions. That might even be true more so now with the current situation. So we just want to verify, and worst case, if that person is no longer there, make sure that at least someone is representative of those organizations that we really would like to see input from. We're also proposing additional meetings with the public. We're working on finalizing those dates. We pretty much have a timeline together. And as soon as we get final approval for that, we'll be able to share that with you as an update as well. Hopefully, I'm hoping sooner than October, but for definitely by then at least. But I just wanted to make sure y'all were aware, and then to also be on the lookout, and then to maybe kind of think about how y'all might want to receive the information, whether it's at a separate meeting or whether it's actually at the next scheduled planning commission meeting.
Okay, great. Do we need to make that decision now, Mr. Tommy?
No, sir. For us, I mean, I think, we've kind of already in the back of our minds built in some time, of course, for your regular scheduled meeting. But we've also kind of tried to set aside and make sure our schedules aren't too hectic near the end of September. So that's also an option as well.
Okay, all right, great. Any questions for Mr. Lane? Thank you so much for that report, sir.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Well, while I got you, let me, and I mean, this kind of goes into the chairman's report. And I mentioned this to the staff several meetings ago regarding the code rewrite. And since we have been in the process of rewriting the code, there was a federal designation that was approved called opportunity zones. And the long and short of it is it's an opportunity to use a federal designation to develop in low to moderate income communities across our country. South Carolina, I think, has about 181 opportunity zones in our state. In Richland County, I forget the exact number, but it's quite a few in the county. And I thought it might not be a bad idea to begin thinking about how do we, in our code rewrite, look at this particular designation also as one that could potentially be either classification or overlay type thing for those that may be interested in developing in one of those districts. The incentive for those to consider developing in opportunity zones is a forgivable time period over 10 years of capital gains, which is for an individual or for some type of developer or corporation could potentially be a nice incentive to develop. So as we're thinking about, I know one of the big criteria for the code rewrite was to design something that could potentially help spur economic development in the county as well, which was one of the things that I certainly wanted to see be a priority. And I was glad to know that that came out in the midst of what we were doing on the rewrite. So I certainly would like for you guys to take that and figure out what does that mean, what does it look like, and maybe at our next meeting, let's have a conversation about it, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think we've had some discussion about that as well previously. We have some ideas or some potential options to offer for that. But I'll make sure that we've done a full, search on what some of those options could be and be prepared to speak about that.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Yeah. All right. Chairman's report. I was going to mention that in my comments. Just want to thank all of the commissioners again for your diligence as we work through our Zoom meetings. I know everybody is all tired of Zoom, but we appreciate the fact that we can still be in a position to serve the public, and I appreciate your commitment to doing so. And I still look forward to personally meeting our new commissioners in the not too distant future. So that's all I have on the chairman's report. Planning director's report, item 6.
Mr. Chair, I don't have anything else to add other than what's in your package, beginning on page 51, which is the report of the last ZPH.
Okay, great. Well, I'm delighted to know that everybody's doing well and everybody's continue to do well and stay safe. Are there any additional items that need to be brought to this commission's attention before we adjourn?
No, sir.
Okay, if not, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, there's that, a second.
Second.
Somebody seconds with the mute button on, so that's good. All right, everybody, be safe, take care, we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks.